Hi everyone, my name is Shelley, and today I just wanted to tell my story of how I pretty much did a 180 of my life when I joined high ticket sales, and I went from 0 to 27k per month, which is still crazy to think about. And I know the industry of high ticket sales, there's so much information, so many people saying so many different things, it can be so daunting for a beginner. It was for me. So really, I thought if I could just share my story, my honest experience, my journey, even if I can help one other person achieve what I've achieved and change their life and give them the time freedom and the location freedom that they want, then that would make me very happy. So let's get into it. I thought the best place for me to start is the beginning and how I even found high ticket sales and what I did before that. So before I discovered high ticket sales, I actually owned a business and I created equestrian clothing, so like horse riding clothing. So I did everything from the design, manufacturing, investment, finance, everything, all the hats, products, packaging, website, like as you can imagine. If you've ever owned a business or you own a business now, you were wearing all the hats, which meant I learned so much and it built so much confidence in myself. Now that business came to an end. Long story short, it didn't quite work out, which I look back now and I think, thank goodness. Like, I personally do not want to own a product business. It is so stressful and you have to dedicate so much time and money into it. So yeah, it was a bit of a blessing in disguise. But I remember at the time feeling so lost because I dedicated like 4 or 5 years of my life to this venture. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do now? And then I came across an Instagram reel for a girl in the space who was like, I make 20k per month doing high ticket sales, XYZ. And usually I just scroll past those types of things because the make money online space is like so daunting, in my opinion. So many people are saying they do so many different things. You don't know who you can trust. Half of these things don't even make sense. And of course they do work. There are some super successful people doing like drop shipping, FBA, etc. But I didn't know anyone doing it and I just didn't know how. So I'd always kind of just like move past it. But something about this just made sense. Sales made sense. If anyone could sell, I could sell. Like, I sold myself for a business concept that was making zero money, that hadn't even been conceptualized, to raise finance, to raise investment. I did angel investor pitches, etc. So I knew how to talk. I knew how to get what I wanted, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it just made sense. And I went straight onto YouTube and I just started binge watching all this different content. Now, bearing in mind, when you go onto YouTube as a beginner, there's actually not much on there at all. Like, you think there would be, but now I know what I know now, different names in the industry, different places I go, there's not actually that much great advice. Well, there wasn't anyway when I first started. So I just binge watched a load of content for about 5 days. Came across my mentor, binge watched his content for like a day or two, and then booked in a call. And at this point, I knew I was going to close. Like, I knew however much it costs, I was going to pay it. Not that I had all this money by any means, but I just was so delusional with, I know I can do this. I just need the help. And bearing in mind, I had never invested in training, an online mentor, an online course, anything like that. This was like the complete beginning for me. I had no idea, but something just felt right. And I would urge everyone, if you have a gut feeling, even if everyone around you is telling you, this is crazy, this is silly. I mean, I only told one person, which was my mum, at the time, because there's no point telling everyone, even if you've got lovely friends and lovely family, because if they thought it was a good idea, they'd probably do it too. So I think until you've got a proven concept, it's easier to just keep it to yourself, which is what I did anyway. So I jumped on this closing call, disassociated. I can't remember how it went. Apparently it was okay. And I just talked and I just said, like, how do I get started? Like, I knew I was going to close on that call. I knew I was ready. Paid for the sales training, got started. I remember the call ended, and then I was like, oh my goodness, now it's real. Now it's on me. And I often think people don't talk about that, in the sense that people think you pay for a trainer, you pay for a coach, you pay for a course, and that's going to solve your problem. That's going to do the work for you. But in reality, someone can provide you the vehicle, but they can't drive the car. That's down to you. And I had a very fast, very heavy realization that this is now on me. And the easiest thing I've done is pay for that training. Now I actually have to make it happen. So I remember having a bit of not a panic, but I was a bit like overwhelmed, thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to make it work. And I remember saying to my mum, if I want something I've never had, I actually have to do something I've never done. And that quote has stuck with me throughout this whole journey. I have to keep on putting myself out my comfort zone, keep on doing the things that I've never done to get what I want. So that's exactly what I did. And I attended training calls. I was pretty much like the only girl on these training calls, right? I was so scared, but I showed up and I listened and I did the training. And then around 2 weeks later, I came across an ad on Instagram for a business owner who sold property coaching, needed a sales rep. And I remember looking at it, because ads aren't usually posted on Instagram. So I was kind of like, wow, is this a sign? Should I apply? And then I thought, don't be so silly. Why would you apply? You've done this, you've trained for 2 weeks, you know nothing, you're never even going to get a look in. Don't bother. So I came off the Instagram story, carried on with my day. I took my car into the garage actually that day, which will be relevant shortly. But around 20-30 minutes later, I kind of thought, it was with me, the advert was in my mind, and I thought, you know what, just apply. You can't expect a different result if you're going to keep on doing the same thing, right? So I applied, and within 2 hours, I got a text saying they wanted me to jump on an interview. Bearing in mind, at this time, my car was in the garage and I had a £6,000 car bill that I had no idea how I was going to pay. So it was panic mode. It was survival mode at this point. I needed this job. I had to get this job. So I jumped on an interview about an hour later, right? It all happened so quick. And I got offered the job. And I remember being in that interview, and it was a solo interview, so it was a private interview, because I know sometimes they do group interviews. Luckily enough, I've never had to experience that. It was just a private interview. And I remember saying to the business owner, I'm not the person who has a ton of experience. I haven't been in the industry very long, but what I can tell you is I will do whatever it takes. I will be the hardest worker, the first one in, the last one out, and I will prove myself. And that was my sales pitch. And I got the job. I got offered the job on the spot. I genuinely couldn't believe it. To start the next day, which was just mental, which I'm so glad I did, because I'm so grateful for the business owner. She completely changed my life by giving me that opportunity. And I just remember feeling wow, okay, I've finally done it. Now I have to prove myself. So I remember binge watching, the training, because I got offered a triage role. So triaging is basically, there's 3 real steps of the sales process. Setting, which is you can be a DM setter acting as a business owner, or over the phone, which is just qualifying people who may be interested. Triaging is where you are kind of on a Zoom call typically, and they're mini sales calls. They're usually 15-minute calls, really qualifying the prospect, making sure they have enough money, pain, desire, and then you pass them on to the closer, and then the closer sells, basically should close the deal. So I got the opportunity for around 3 months to do mini sales calls, which massively built my confidence. And I would say to anyone, do setting first. If you have the opportunity to do triaging, that is phenomenal, because so many people want to become a closer. They see the price tags, they see the income, they see the lifestyle, and everyone wants to do it. But if you actually want to make more than 10K per month, if you actually want that lifestyle, then you need to learn your craft. And you can't just think you're going to walk onto an offer and just close some deals. And I know, contrary to what everyone says, you can just work a couple of hours per day on the beach and make a couple, $1,000 per week. It's not like that. Truly, it's not like that. I hate to break it to you. I wish it was, but it's not. You have to be obsessed. Like, your hours are long. You're getting rejection after rejection after rejection. But is it worth it? 100%. It was for me anyway. So I became a triager. I did that for around 3 months. I remember my first paycheck, I think it was like £900. I'll leave the screenshot. Yeah, I remember working a part-time job in the day, and then I would come home and do triaging at night. I was just obsessed, and like, I just was working to make sure I didn't lose this opportunity. I was in survival mode for a very long time. I don't think it was healthy, but I just knew I couldn't lose this opportunity. And then that's when my transition to closing started to happen. So there was a new sales manager on the team, and I'll be forever grateful to her, because I don't know how quickly I would have moved into closing if it wasn't for her. And I remember jumping on a group triage call with her, and she basically said to the offer owner, like, Shelley needs to close. We need to train her up. She needs to be on the closing team, like, no questions. Which I'm so, like I said, I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And I remember getting a phone call like 8 a.m. in the morning from the business owner going, right, we're training you up. You're going to become a closer. Get ready. Start practicing. Which is exactly what I did. And I pretty much watched all the top closers' sales calls, rehearsed the scripts. I started attending my mentor calls again, because I dipped for a little bit because I just got quite scared and I was so busy, and I don't know, yeah, I just made excuses really, which I think is just one of those things. But I started training again, I started asking questions, and I knew this was like, I had to make this work. I had to be a top performer, because if I'm going to do something, I want to do it really well. Otherwise, for me, there's just no point. So I climbed the way to the top of my ladder within triage. I was making the most money. I was the top performer within the triage department. So it was a very much natural progression. I felt very ready, even though I was quite scared at the same time. So yeah, I started closing, and within like my second month of closing, I think it was like a 10K month. I was doing triage calls as well. And I was like, wow, this is where things change. Like, that type of money for me, I'd always heard about it, but I didn't quite believe yet that I could do that. So for me to have made that, I was blown away. And I just became more obsessed, training all day, every day. If I had a no-show, I'd be dialing the leads, getting more opportunities on my calendar, attending trainings, asking questions, asking for my calls to be reviewed, which is something I would recommend to everyone. Whether you're in sales already or a complete beginner, you have to put yourself out there, because the bar is actually very low. You'd be surprised. If you're the person on every single sales call who is asking questions, wanting reviews, you will be noticed and you will be liked for that, because it shows the hunger for you to learn. And if you want to be good at sales, if you want to make the type of money you see online, the type of money that I'm talking about today, you have to be hungry. Like, you have to want it. And I did, and I still do. And I basically climbed my way to the top of the sales department on the closing team with closers who had closed for a few years. I was closing at 50%. I was just working so incredibly hard, and my life changed, and I finally had this income that I'd always wanted. I was able to breathe. I was able to get a new apartment, which I'm in now. I was able to have the freedom, give back to my family more. And don't get me wrong, like 10K per month, I know it sounds crazy now, but once you've done it, you're going to want more. Like, it's not enough. And I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, it is like that. You'll hit a certain milestone, you want more. At least I did anyway. That's just my personality. So that's what I set out to do. And I closed for a few months. As I said, I'm going to try and leave screenshots as well on the screen as we go, so you can kind of see the progression of my journey. But I closed for a few months, and I was on that offer 10 or 11 months. And I'd say in the last 3, I knew I wanted more, maybe 3 or 4. I wanted the next thing. I wanted 20K per month. That is just what I was so excited to achieve, but I had no idea how. And I remember approaching my mentor like, I really want this, but can this ever even be me? Like, do people really earn 20K per month in this industry? Because you hear about it, but you don't really see it. It's pretty rare to do that. So he created a like new sales trainer, like a mastermind for people who wanted to take their career to the next level. I was a bit scared to join that. He objection handled me in the DMs because I kind of knew if I committed, I was going to do it. And I had to push myself out of my comfort zone because admittedly, I got so comfortable. I was top performer. I was making decent money. I was happy. The offer was good. I was happy. But I knew if I wanted something I'd never had, I had to do something I've never done. So I joined the mastermind and we got to work. And on the one-on-one call we had, he told me to do like 2 things. I did it that same day. Implementation is what I should get onto. Implementation is crucial in this industry if you want to see success. So I implemented same day everything I was always told, all the advice I always got, which is what I did with him. He told me to start building a personal brand specifically on Facebook. Now, for anyone who wants to be super private and the idea of a personal brand is like super daunting, that is me too. I'm super private. I don't want to post my life all over Instagram. I don't really use social media. So for me, he was like, post on Facebook, start documenting your journey on Facebook. So I did. And I was so cringe writing these statuses and posting. But within that week, I had like 3 opportunities for offers that could make me 20 to 30K per month. I was like blown away at what just happened. And I just kept on posting. I didn't accept any of the offers. I didn't feel they were right for me, which is also like another thing in itself. Because to want something and then it get presented to you pretty much on a silver platter, but not take it, it's very difficult because you would think you would just do anything to make that type of money. But in reality, I knew I want like sustainability. I wanted an offer that I enjoyed, that I could develop in, that I could grow in, and I just didn't feel they were for me. So I just kept on posting, kept on working away. And then I had an offer present me. Really, really nice guy who was the sales manager. Again, so grateful to him for approaching me. I think I posted like I had like a 60% closing percentage that week. It was crazy. Like I was doing quite well on the offer I was on, and that kind of caught people's attention. And he messaged me and we were back and forth for a while, and he was like, I'd love for you to be part of the team. We jumped on like a bit of a casual interview. Again, super lucky that my interviews have been pretty casual. And we just chatted. We just had a conversation. And then around, I think like a month or so after that, I joined a new team. I left an old one. Very difficult to say goodbye and to step out my comfort zone like that, because bearing in mind, I'd earned this amount of money for such a long time. I knew it was stable. I was about to step into a whole new industry that I didn't know, starting a new offer. I didn't know if I could do it. I had a lot of like imposter syndrome associated with that. But I had to do what I've never done if I wanted what I've never had. And it's genuinely stuck with me. And that's what I did. And within my second month, I was top of the leaderboard. I made 27K per month. And we kind of fast tracked to where I am now. And I'm in a place now where I feel comfortable with sales. And yeah, I still do the training. And of course, I still do call reviews. But I've really found my groove. Like I feel really confident in myself as a closer, my ability. If the offer died tomorrow, I was confident I could do another offer and I could sell. And I've worked my way to the top of the leaderboard for the offers I've been on now. So I've proven to myself, and I've seen that money in my bank account, and it is very much real. And I guess my advice for anyone who is looking to start this journey would be, you have to believe in yourself, because that's what I've done throughout this whole process. I've just had this sheer self-belief, and I don't know where it's come from, and I don't know why I've had it, because it's not proven. It was never proven. I just knew I could do it. And that's what I would say to you. And if you're watching this wondering like, I'd love more freedom, I'd love more money, I'd love to be able to travel and do the things that I can now do, I guess. I can work wherever I want, full location freedom. I have the income that I've always dreamed of, the apartment, the lifestyle, I guess, and of course I want more. Who doesn't? But I would say you have to take a bet on yourself. You have to just go for it. Invest in yourself, invest in your training. And if you're already in the industry, don't be scared to ask for more. I've always asked for more. I've delivered the result and then I've asked for more. And that is my piece of advice across the board. If you're making 3K a month right now in setting and you want to make 10K a month closer, make it known. Tell the offer owner, tell the sales manager, you will do whatever it takes, and then do whatever it takes. Work hard, put in the hours, and you can truly have whatever you want. And it may not feel that way now. Trust me, like 12 months ago, I remember feeling completely lost. Well, maybe around 14 months ago, feeling completely lost, but you can so do it, and it's so achievable. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed my story. I hope that's been valuable, just to show that you don't have to be this completely like alien person to make this type of money, or you don't have to be doing XYZ to achieve certain things. You can just be very normal. I'm just like a very normal, from a very normal place, from a very normal family. None of my friends or anyone makes money online. We just do like normal jobs. Like that is what I've always grown up around. You can do that. Like you don't have to go on the path if it doesn't feel right. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, my story. My DMs are always open on Instagram if you are looking for help to get into this industry, or if you're looking for help to take your career to the next level. Maybe you want to make the transition from setting to closing, or 10K a month to 20K a month. My DMs are open. I'm more than happy to give you advice and help you. And like I said, if I can help one person do what I've done, that would genuinely make me feel so happy. So yeah, it was nice speaking to you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.